Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and this is my first impressions look on the 361 degrees Big 3 Future. So this is kind of like Nikola Jokic's shoe. This is the shoe that he's been wearing. He actually signed with 361 degrees not too long ago. He used to be signed with Nike and he used to wear the Nike Zoom GT Jump. That used to be his shoe, but now he wears this shoe actually. So 361 degrees also has Spencer Dinwiddie and Aaron Gordon, and of course this is the AG4, and the AG4 is one of my favorite hoop shoes of last year. This is an amazing performer, so I have high hopes, high expectations for this shoe, but also this shoe is a lot more expensive. So on 361 degrees, their website, this shoe retails for 160 bucks, but you can also get it for 140 bucks on Famuji. But the AG4 is only 100 bucks and you get amazing performance, right? So if you guys do want to cop, I'll try to leave a link in the description box, but let's get it started right off with the Trackon. And in this colorway, we have this fully translucent outsole. It's this kind of like blue color. It looks pretty cool, right? And the Trackon pattern is pretty interesting as well. We have these kind of dots that are connecting a little bit, and also we can see the like this fork shape, right? The spade shape, which is carbon fiber, and which we'll get into. But anyways, how does the Trackon feel? So when I first got it and then just tried it on my wood floors, the bite didn't seem that good, right? Which is weird because first of all, 361 degrees, a lot of their all their Tractions that I've tried, like the DVD2, which is Spencer Dinwiddie's shoe, and also the AG4, all their Tractions have been really good, right? But for this one, it doesn't seem that nice, right? It doesn't seem like it's biting that hard, and also it's weird because it's so sticky. Like when I first got it, the rubber outsole was very sticky, and you can even just hear it, like just walking around, it would be like because it was so sticky. I'll put like the audio in for you guys to hear. But yeah, the bite doesn't seem that good right now. And also it does seem to be picking up a good amount of dust, right? So for my first impressions, the Trackon actually doesn't seem that good, which is very disappointing. However, of course, I haven't played in it yet. We have yet to see how it performs when I actually break it in as well. But yeah, just on dust and also on a clean court, the bite doesn't seem that amazing, right? Durability though does seem like it'll be very good, right? These dots and these circles, it seems very hard as far as the rubber goes. Also, the grooves are pretty thick and also deep, and you have a lot of surface area as well, as you guys can see. So durability, you should be fine, even though it is an expensive shoe. I feel like it'll be good for outdoor use for the outsole. And now moving on to the heel to toe transition, it feels overall very smooth, right? So here in the heel, we have a nice rounded shape, right? Although it is really caged, and this plastic is super stiff, right? And also another thing that I noticed is this rubber, right? So the outsole right here is pretty dang hard as well, especially comparing to the AG4. The AG4 right here, the rubber is really soft, and I can just press it with my finger, and there's a good amount of compression still, right? But here in the Big 3 Future, it's actually still pretty stiff, so it does feel a little stiff, a little clunky here in the heel. There really isn't any compression from the actual midsole, right? But we have a nice rounded shape, and then here in the forefoot we have a nice rounded shape as well. This rocker kind of shape, right? In the forefoot is super curved, and it's definitely something that I noticed, especially just walking around. It just really wants to keep me on my toes, and I love this shape, you know, especially when I'm shooting. I like to shoot on my toes, you know, and it feels a lot better when I'm shooting with this type of shape. So yeah, it has this really nice rocking shape, you know, this U shape, right? So that feels super duper nice. And also, as far as the forefoot flexibility goes, there is a good amount of forefoot flex, right? But I am putting a good amount of force into it, so it's not super flexible or anything like that. And also we have a nice rebound back. This springiness feels really nice, which does of course come back to the full length sore plate, right? So here in the forefoot, it looks like, you know, it does come to the bottom of the shoe, and obviously it's right underneath this like outsole. But yeah, this is all carbon fiber, but also it's full length. It kind of comes in, I guess, like it goes into the actual cushion right here, right? And then it goes all the way here into the heel as well. So that'll be good for, of course, torsional support, and also that springiness, which feels very nice so far. So the heel to toe transition feels really smooth and really springy, which I do like. It just feels a little clunky here in the heel, right? And now moving on to the cushioning setup. So the cushioning setup is a little bit disappointing in my personal experience right now, just for my first impressions, right? So of course the AG4 is really nice. I loved the cushioning setup here in the AG4, because not only does it have a really soft foam, it's the quick CQ tech, right? And it's just really, really soft for the foam, but it has a full-length soft mesh strub wool, right? So if you look underneath the insole, it's really, really soft for that, right? And the step-in comfort is absolutely amazing. But here in the Big 3 Future, I don't know what it is. I was walking around in this shoe on one foot and then the AG4 on the other, and I definitely felt that the AG4 for step-in comfort was a lot softer here. I don't know why. And it's weird because the Big 3 Future also uses a soft mesh strub board. It's also full length, right? So the insole, the insole is also very similar to the AG4. It's not like it's thicker or anything. So the insole is just like an Ortholite insole, just a regular insole. And then underneath that, we had that soft mesh strub board, but then like feeling it with the finger, it does feel a little bit stiffer. Maybe it has something to do with the carbon fiber plate, or the fact that they're using a different type of foam, or maybe they the composition of the actual foam, they made it a little bit stiffer. You know, sometimes even in Nike, for example, Lunarlon or Phylon can be really soft in some shoes, but then very stiff in other shoes, right? So maybe they did that in the Big 3 Future, but the step-in comfort, it's not terrible. It doesn't feel super stiff, but it's just not as nice as the $100 AG4, which is pretty disappointing, right? So step-in comfort, I would say, is you know. And then as far as the court feel goes, court feel is pretty good. It's not amazing, but it's also not terrible. I would say it's around average court feel. And then also there's no compression from the actual midsole either. You know, look at all this cage, right? There's a lot of cage here, and the only place the foam is exposed is on the medial side, and still kind of like very heavily caged as opposed to the AG4, right? So the cushioning setup isn't that nice right now. Of course, I didn't play in it yet, but I remember when I first got the AG4 and I put it on foot, I was like, yo, the step-in comfort is really nice, right? But the Big 3 Future, that's not what I'm experiencing right now. So I'm a little bit disappointed in that. You know, it just feels pretty dang stiff, not super nice for step-in comfort either. So there's the cushioning setup there. Moving on to the upper. So we have a good amount of material. So we have some fuse, right? Then we have this kind of like yarn material, which is very, very exposed and very spaced apart, right? And they're calling this kind of like a carbon fiber woven upper. It's made from carbon filament or something like that. So it's supposed to be very durable. There's no stretch to it at all, which means it's very, very supportive, but also still super duper thin. Conforms to my foot really, really well. So I like the material here in the toe box. And of course, we have a lot of overlaying and also underlaying materials to this carbon filament material, right? And then here in the forefoot slash midfoot area, we have this kind of like finger prong thing going on. So here on the medial and lateral side, we can see this purple material, right? It acts as an eyelid as well, but this material kind of goes into the upper as well. So you have better support on the lateral and medial side. And once you tighten the laces here, it kind of squeezes over the top of your foot, giving you better support and lockdown. And also we have some flywire cables. And yes, you know, flywire is Nike, but I just call it flywire. I feel like everyone just calls it flywire. But yeah, we do have these cables. They are not free flowing. However, they are kind of like glued into the actual underlying material here, but we do have some flywire for extra support as well for the last, I guess, 2 eyelets, right? For the tongue, we have no padding. It's really, really thin. It's just this mesh material with like some underlaying fuse material. It's also a half booty construction tongue, giving you a better overall one-to-one fit. And then the ankle area, we have like an average amount of padding, not super well padded, but I guess we do have the singular Achilles pad where your Achilles is in the back of the heel. So that is pretty nicely padded, but on the sides of the shoe, it's very, very minimal, right? So overall, I mean, for 160 bucks, I would say it's all right. You know, the fuse material doesn't seem that good. And honestly, I like the material here in the AG4 better with this kind of, it's more like a textile, you know, more like a jacquard material in my personal opinion, as opposed to like all of this fuse. And with like, I guess this does have better ventilation though, like there's way better airflow, but I don't know, the AG4 just feels a little bit more quality and also a little bit more cozy as well. There's a little bit more like coziness to the upper as well, right? So yeah, for 160 bucks, not the best quality materials either, but you know, it feels pretty nice on foot, right? And then moving on to the fit. So I went true to size for this shoe, and this shoe fits extremely freaking snug. And I like my hoop shoes really, really snug, especially when I'm playing. So I haven't played in these yet, but right now, just walking around in them, they're just like outside walking my dogs and walking around in the apartment, it's a really snug fit, right? So my toes go really close to the edge of the shoe. Like it's actually like touching. I like it to be like very close, but not touching. So yeah, I feel like most people, if you don't like that, probably go up half a size. I would suggest everyone or most people go up half a size unless you like a really short snug length, right? Also here in the toe box, it's extremely snug. I can't even curl my toes up. And then here width-wise, I would say it's pretty narrow as well. And it's a little bit shorter and also a little bit more snug than the AG4. The AG4, I went true to size as well. It's still a snug fit here in the AG4, but it's just a little bit looser here in the toe box, lengthwise, and also widthwise as well. So AG4 fits me a little bit better. The Big 3 Future is just a little bit more snug. So most people go up half a size, and if you have a wide foot, maybe go up a full size or maybe a full size and a half. But for me, I feel like, you know, it's not super uncomfortable right now, and I feel like it'll probably break in a little bit better. But for me, it's a little uncomfortable and it's a little too tight for me right now, right? And now moving on to the weight of the shoe, I feel like this shoe is gonna be around average weight, you know, 12, 13 ounces, I think. Let's check. Yeah, 12.55 ounces. Let's check the other shoe. 12.8 ounces, right? So that's extremely average weight. The average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces. And let's check the AG4. Yeah, 12.45 ounces. So very, very average weight. Doesn't feel really bulky at all. Nothing protrudes out like crazy. But the only thing I don't like about the shoe, or there's a couple things I don't like about the shoe right now, but the traction is feeling really, really bad right now. So hopefully I'm not sliding around all over the place, but we'll have to see on that. And now moving on to the aesthetics, I like this shoe. It looks great. I love the overall silhouette. This colorway looks pretty dope, and there are also some other colorways that look really dope as well. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, yeah, the Big 3 Future I thought would be a little bit of an upgraded version of the AG4, because the AG4, I love this shoe. It's $100. It's using pretty much the same exact foams, but it's not feeling as good so far. And it is using a different type of foam here as well. It's using full length quick CQ tech and also quick flame as well in the heel, right? And also of course we have the full length carbon fiber plate, which is that's the only thing that's kind of like the selling point, you know what I mean? But for $60 more, you know what I mean? But yeah, I guess the only thing I like about this shoe better is the springiness for the heel to toe transition compared to the AG4. The AG4 is more just a lot more flexible. It's a lot softer here in the forefoot. Still has a nice little spring back to it though, right? But that's the only thing. The cushion feels better here in the AG4, especially for step and comfort. Traction feels better. Material quality even feels better. It fits me better so far, and it's $60 cheaper. So $100 versus $160. So right now, just for my first impressions, the Big 3 Future is feeling not so good, which kind of is a disappointment. You know, if the cushion was a little bit softer, or if it was just as good as the AG4, and if the traction was better, I would like the shoe a lot better right now. But anyways, that's just my first impressions. Look, that can all change when I actually play in it and test it, but that's just how it is right now, right? So that kind of sucks because this is Jokic's shoe, but also he's been playing the high top version, you know, but it's not that big of a difference, you know, from what I've seen. So anyways, again, that about concludes this video. Again, if you guys do want to copy, try to leave a link in the description box, but that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.